Alright, so on the back of your assignment from Friday, you had something that says parallel and perpendicular lines quiz. It actually said review for the quiz. And that's what this is. It's just a review. It's a preparation for the quiz today. So, going over it together right now as a review so we can be successful on today's quiz. So you need to have this out. If you already turned it in, then I'll be handing it back to you so you can check your answers as we go through this. And as I'm saying this stuff, you want to try to memorize the blanks and memorize all the ways that we're doing this. Hopefully you already have. So if you're looking at number 1, we should know this. Describe the slope of parallel lines. You can say they are the same, or you could say that they're equal. However you want to say it. But you've got to know that the slopes of parallel lines are the exact same number. So here's a softball, meaning this should be easy. Number 2, graph this line. So remember, this is mx plus b. And you tell me, do I graph the m or the b first? The b. So I'm going to graph the positive 2 first on the y-axis. Put a point at 2. And then my slope is negative 5 over 7. Right? That's my m. So if I'm going to rise over run, rising negative 5 means down 5. And then running 7, we always run to the right, like we're reading left to right. So down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Run 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And once I have those, I can draw a straight line through it. As straight as you can. You can use the straight edge of the protractor. But then it asks us to do something else. It says to write an equation that is parallel. Okay, so parallel, we just said at the top, means same slope. So I'm going to write the same equation, well, almost the same equation, negative 5 over 7x, but I'm going to change my y-intercept to something else. I'm going to use minus 1. Why not? Any number you want. So if you picked a different number, that's great. So there's my y-intercept at negative 1, and then I do the same, down 5, right 7, and I should get that point right there. And then once again, I'm going to draw a straight line through it. And guess what? Those are going to be parallel. Okay? So, since they're parallel, you don't have to put that. And we graphed our parallel line. Okay? So, 2 lines, I see parallel because they do not intersect. That's great. On number 3, find the equation of a line passing through a point with the slope. Okay? Now, you're given the point-slope formula right here. And we've been doing that on our last assignment. So over here, let's write that down. Y equals m, and the slope is 4 over 5, parentheses, x minus, my x value over here is negative 5, parentheses, plus, and then my y value right here is 3. Okay, now all I got to do is distribute 4 over 5 times x is 4 over 5x. 4 over 5 times, now minus the negative 5, I've said before, that is like an addition sign. So you might as well transform it so you don't get confused with minus and negative. Okay, so you end up getting 4/5 times 5. If I go to my calculator and do that, it should be 4 divided by 5 times 5. I get 4. Okay, so 4/5 times 5 is positive 4. Bring down plus 3. Combine these like terms. So y equals 4 over 5x plus 7. Okay, so that's my original equation that needs to go over here. And that's great for a parallel equation. all I got to do is rewrite it and change that y-intercept to something else. Okay, now that one you don't have to graph, so we're good with that. Number 4, describe the slope of perpendicular lines.
Opposite reciprocals, perpendicular slopes. You change the positive negative and you flip the frac. Flip, 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 flip the frac.
So don't forget, for perpendicular lines, you take that slope and it's supposed to be opposite reciprocal. Which means change the positive negative and you flip the frac. Flip, flip, flip the frac. Now, for number 5, it is not y equals. I need to solve this for y. So let's do that. To get rid of a 3x, I subtract 3x. I subtract 3x. Don't forget to put this little arrow here. You don't combine those numbers, right? These cancel out. Y equals negative 3x plus 4, because that 4 was positive. Now, that negative 3 in front of x is over 1, right? Because it's a whole number. So let's graph that real quick. My y-intercept, my b that I graph first, is positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then my slope is negative 3 over 1, right? So my rise is negative 3, down 3, run 1 to the right. So down 1, 2, 3, 1 to the right. And you can keep it going. 1, 2, 3, 1 to the right. You get the idea. And so let me... Okay. So I got my line right there. And now I need to write a perpendicular equation. So I'm going to start again with y equals, but instead of negative 3 over 1, the opposite would be positive, and the reciprocal would be flipping it 1 over 3. Does everyone see that I flipped it and I changed the sign? So don't put a negative sign. You don't have to put a plus sign. Just put a regular 1 over 3. Okay? X. And your y-intercept, it can change or it can stay the same. Just to keep it simple, I'll leave it at positive 4. So, I'm going to put my point at positive 4 again. But to graph this one, I need to rise 1 up, because it's positive, and run 3 to the right. So up 1, 1, 2, 3. And keep going, up 1, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to graph that. Boom. Does everyone see those are perpendicular because they clearly make a right angle right there? Okay? I'm looking for opposite reciprocal slopes. Your quiz is very similar to this, so let's recap real quick. Do you know what parallel means? Same slope. Can you write a parallel equation with the same slope and a different y-intercept? Can you graph them? Remember, you graph the b first, and then you rise over run. Be careful for negative slopes. They go down to the right. Can you use point slope formula like we did on Friday and Thursday? Remember, the formula will be on there. You just got to plug it in, distribute, and combine like terms. And for parallel, just change the b, the y-intercept. And probably the harder one, number 5, please solve for y. Do that step. Get y by itself. Don't forget your little arrow right here. Okay, that arrow is so important. But then once you solve it, then you need to write a perpendicular equation. Remember, it's opposite reciprocal. All right? You can do it. So when you take your quiz today, after you finish, I want you to be able to finish the assignments from last week. They're over here on the side, on this sliding whiteboard over here. The one from yesterday/Tuesday of this week, and then, or last week, sorry, and then the one from Friday, the 13th. Okay? All right. So if you're finished with the other side of this page, the front side that said point, slope, assignment, if you're done with that, you can turn it in. If you're not done with that, you want to put it away for now and finish that after the quiz. You can clear your desk off of everything besides a calculator and a pencil or something to write with. And a protractor is fine, so you can make straight lines. And just a reminder, when we take quizzes, you need to raise your hand for questions. There should be no talking to each other. You should have your eyes on your own paper. And if you sit over there next to the window, you should be facing forward, so don't sit sideways, please. You should not have phones out, meaning no phones in your hand, no phones on your desk. You can listen to music in one ear without blasting it. I just don't want you to have your phone out, so hit shuffle, put it away, please. And when you're done, what I want you to work on is not the 3 assignments from last week, but the 2 assignments from last week, okay? They're on the board, on the side sliding board, and I'll show you the agenda from Friday. They look like these, okay? Now, this is all, the pictures is what I want you to look at, okay? This was from Friday, and this was from the prior days before that. Those 2 assignments you gotta make sure you have turned in. Work on that after the quiz if you haven't already finished that. And we'll get started here on our quiz in a second.